Oh yeah, we're finally doing this. The start of my journey into the world of Harry Potter. A series I've somehow avoided my entire life, but after years of hearing references I didn't understand and being treated like some kind of cultural outcast, I finally caved in. I picked up the books and now here I am, reviewing them one by one. Now, before we start, a quick disclaimer. If you're a die-hard Harry Potter fan who considers even the mildest criticism of this series a personal attack, please close this video before you Avada Kedavra all over. This is just my honest opinion as a first-time reader, and I'll be pointing out both what I liked and what I found questionable. Now that the reasonable people are still here, let's get into it. Alright, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the book that started it all. I have to admit, for a first book, it does a pretty solid job at setting up the world. We meet Harry, an orphan kid who lives with his awful aunt, uncle, and cousin, who are all so ridiculously mean to him that it almost feels like a fairy tale. Like, I get that we need to feel bad for Harry so we can root for him, but did they really have to make him sleep in a cupboard? The guy works like a maid and nobody bats an eye? Are there no child protection services in England? The Dursleys aren't just mean, they are cartoonishly absurdly awful. Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia's entire personality revolves around them being terrified of anything that isn't aggressively normal. And Dudley is basically a sentient pile of entitlement and bad parenting. I get it, they hate magic and all, but to go live in a stormy tower in the middle of the sea because you don't want Harry to go to a magic school is a bit dramatic. Their personality is more designed for comedic relief and to feel bad for a main character, rather than a realistic portrait of the family. Like, if they hate Harry so much, why do they want to protect him from magic instead of sending him to Hogwarts and being ridden of him for a full year? All in all, I feel like the Dursley family in this book is a bit overtuned when it comes to their role in the story. But then enter Hagrid, the big friendly giant who barges into Harry's life like nobody's business and tells him, "You're a Harry wizard." Wait, that's not it. You're a wizard, Harry. And from that moment, Harry's life does a full 180. He gets taken away from his depressing existence and is thrown headfirst into our world of spells, moving staircases, and casual child endangerment. Before we even get to Hogwarts, we have to talk about Diagon Alley. This place is the first time we really get to see the full potential of the wizarding world, and it's honestly one of the most fun parts of the books for me. The shops, the magical items, the weird economy, it's all fascinating. If J.K. Rowling does one thing best, it's world building. But what really stands out for me is the way we witness these scenes from Harry's perspective. Since he's just as new to all of this as we are, we get to experience that same sense of wonder and discovery. Every little detail, from the self-stirring cauldrons to the wands choosing their wizards, makes the world feel alive. It also raises a ton of questions, like how does the wizarding world function economically? Why are there no wizard banks other than Gringotts? And most importantly, how has nobody realized that trusting goblins with all their money is probably a terrible idea? Does nobody play Clash of Clans in England? Anyway, this whole sequence does an amazing job of setting the tone. It tells us that the wizarding world is chaotic, weirdly bureaucratic, and absolutely full of secrets. And then we finally get to the big moment, Hogwarts itself. Now, again, I gotta say that Hogwarts is an amazing setting. From the second Harry arrives, you can tell this place is special. The floating candles, the talking portraits, the ghosts casually roaming in the halls. It's got just the right mix of wonder and mild spookiness. It's like the total opposite of my school. If I had the choice, I'd enroll in a heartbeat. I mean, sure, Hogwarts has its own set of life-threatening hazards, but at least you'd have to deal with questionable deals happening to the boys' bathroom during lunch. And speaking about life-threatening hazards, let's talk about the fact that Hogwarts has to be the least safe school in existence. First, there's a giant three-headed dog just hanging out in a corridor that students are explicitly told to stay away from. I mean, I don't know about you, but if I was a teacher and there was an actual monster on campus, I'd put more security than just a "do not enter" sign and hope for the best. If you survive your first year at this school, you deserve a medal. Even the moving staircases seem like a lawsuit waiting to happen. Imagine sprinting to class already late and the stairs just casually decide to rewrite you to the library instead. But honestly, the real mystery isn't just how ridiculously unsafe this place is, it's how understaffed it is. When it comes to actual security, you got the teachers and Filch, the janitor. That's it, no guards, no extra staff. For a school that's supposedly one of the safest places in the wizarding world, it sure doesn't seem all that well protected. Now, let's talk about our main characters. Harry is... well, he's Harry. He's brave, a little clueless, and has the self-preservation skills of a hamster. He spends most of this book being dragged from one event to another, while everyone around him tells him how special he is. And here's the thing, I don't actually mind that he's the chosen one, but man, this book really starts the trend of everything happens to Harry because he's the protagonist. I get that there are later explanations for why so many weird, dangerous, and important things keep happening to him, and they actually make sense in the long run. But if I were an inexperienced reader picking up this series for the first time, I could definitely see myself rolling my eyes at how conveniently he keeps ending up at the center of every major event. Now let's talk about Ron, because I don't think this guy gets nearly enough credit. He's not just the funny sidekick, he's the heart of the trio, and easily my favorite character thus far. His loyalty is unmatched. And what I really appreciate is that, despite coming from a poorer family, it's not his entire personality. The story doesn't constantly shove it in your face. Ron just is who he is. And while his financial situations adds depth to his character, it never defines him. He's not written as the poor kid trope. He's just Ron, and I love that. He just rolls with the chaos of being best friends with Harry. And his wizard chess moment, easily one of the most gut-wrenching scenes in the book. The guy doesn't just play chess, he literally sacrifices himself, well, his piece, but still, so Harry can move forward and win. If that's not peak best friend energy, I don't know what is. And beyond just being a great moment of loyalty, it proves that Ron isn't just the comedic relief. He's got real strategic skills. He might joke around a lot, but when it matters, he knows how to step up. And then there's Hermione. Now, I'll be honest, when she first shows up, she's so annoying. She gives the same kind of energy as the kid who reminds the teacher they forgot to assign homework. But I can't deny that she carries the trio at times. Her brain is a force to be reckoned with, and without her, the boys would have been screwed numerous times. At least she gets a good character arc during this book, which makes her a little less of a pain in the neck. She realizes that being right isn't everything, and by the end of the book, she's not just a know-it-all. She's a real friend who would break every rule in the book if it meant saving the people she cares about. And honestly, what makes their friendship so great is that it feels real. Too many stories shove romantic tension between main characters, but Harry, Ron, and Hermione, they argue like siblings, and it's actually refreshing. Ron doesn't even see Hermione as a girl until much later in the series, and that's part of what makes their interaction so fun to watch. Seeing them act like an actual trio of friends instead of potential love interests from the start makes their bond feel so much more natural and heartwarming. So yeah, another big point this book gets is the cast for their main characters. They might not always make the best decision, and sometimes Harry's plot armor is very obvious, but they make the story fun and interesting to read. One of the best parts of Philosopher's Stone is the mystery. Throughout the book, there's this underlying question of what's hidden in the school, why people are after it, and who's really behind it all. And let me tell you, the reveal that Snape wasn't the villain, that actually got me. I went in expecting Snape to be the bad guy, because, well, he's been shaped up from the start to be the antagonist, but then, plot twist. It was actually Quirrell this whole time. Now let's talk about Quirrell. This background character went from a stuttering, nervous wreck to full-on evil in about 5 seconds. And honestly, it was kind of terrifying. Finding out he literally had Voldemort living rent-free in the back of his head, that gave me nightmares for the next week. Overall, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone is a strong beginning to the series. It sets up a fascinating world, introduces some memorable characters, and presents a simple yet engaging plot. It does have its flaws though, and I'm not entirely sure why people are obsessed with this saga, though I imagine that might become clearer as I continue reading. One thing I'm hoping for though is a reduction in the everything happens to Harry trope, and a little less plot armor moving forward. But for the first book of its series, it sets the ground fairly well and makes you want to follow Harry's stories, so not a bad read all in all. Next stop, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, which from what I've heard is when things start getting a little darker. Anyway, that's my take. If you enjoyed this, Drop a like to satisfy the ever-hungry YouTube algorithm. I'm on my way to my dream school, Harvard. And if you want to follow my journey, hit that subscribe button. See ya!